The night was still and wide, the kind of stillness where you can hear your own heartbeat if you listen closely. We were lying on our backs in a clearing, the fire behind us just a bed of glowing coals, throwing a faint warmth against our legs. Above, the stars scattered across the black sky like someone had spilled salt across dark velvet. I remember the silence between us, broken only by the occasional call of a night bird in the distance, or the creak of the pines as a breeze sighed through. Then the first streak cut across the sky, bright and fast, so sudden that we all sat up, pointing and shouting like kids. One shooting star, then another, until it felt like the heavens were tearing open just for us. Somebody said it was a meteor shower, though none of us knew its name. All we knew was that it was beautiful, and it made us feel small in the best way possible. "Make a wish," Mara whispered, her voice hushed as if the sky itself might overhear. And so we did. One by one, lying back in the grass, eyes wide, we whispered silent promises into the dark. Wishes for love, for adventure, for escape, for things we couldn't have said out loud in daylight. I remember mine clearly, though I won't tell you just yet. Some things are meant to unfold slowly. What I can tell you is that, in that moment, under that vast blanket of stars, none of us had any idea how those wishes would tangle into the days and years to come. None of us thought they might come true, or how much we'd come to regret that they had. That night, we laughed, we guessed at constellations, we told stories until the fire died to embers, and above it all, the stars kept falling, as if the universe was listening too closely. The next morning, the clearing felt ordinary again. Sunlight filtering through tall pines, dew soaking into our boots as we stirred the fire back to life. It was easy to laugh off the night before as just campfire magic, the kind of moment that feels larger than life when you're under the stars, but shrinks in the daylight. Still, coming. And with it, the kind of chill that cuts through even the best sleeping bag. We hurried to make camp again, the sound of distant thunder echoing in the valley. I remember sitting under the tarp, water dripping steadily around us, and thinking how strange it was. Just hours ago, the sky had felt infinite, generous, almost friendly. Now it pressed down on us, grey and brooding, as if reminding us that not all promises from the heavens come without a cost. And though none of us could have said why, we felt it. Something had shifted. That night of wishes hadn't just been a passing whim. It had set something in motion, and already the first ripples were beginning to stir. It was weeks later, after we'd all gone back to our separate lives, that the first wish showed its hand. Dan called me one evening, his voice bubbling with energy I hadn't heard in years. "I did it," he said, almost breathless. "I quit. Walked out of that office today, didn't even pack my desk." At first, I thought he was joking. But no, he'd really done it, just like he'd said under those falling stars. He told me he felt alive, free for the first time in a decade. I congratulated him, though a part of me wondered what he would do next. Adventure sounded good in the woods, but in the city, bills still came due. Mara, meanwhile, started changing in quieter ways. She'd always been cautious, the one checking maps twice and making sure the tent stakes were solid. But now, there was a recklessness about her, small at first, taking last-minute trips, staying out late, chasing storms with her camera. When I asked what had gotten into her, She only smiled faintly and said, "I wished to feel something real." I didn't press her, but I carried the weight of her words with me. As for me, I tried not to think about my own wish. It felt like tempting fate to speak it aloud. But sometimes, walking home at night, I caught myself looking up at the stars, waiting for something I couldn't name. Then came the news about Dan. He'd spent all his savings on a used motor with excitement and exhaustion. "I can't stay in one place anymore," she confessed. "It feels like the world is pulling me forward, and if I stop, I'll miss it." She'd quit her job too, sold most of her things, and was chasing storms across the Midwest. At first, I admired her bravery, but then she started missing calls, vanishing for weeks at a time. Each message she left sounded more scattered, as though the thing she'd wished for had taken on a life of its own. And then there was Luke. He'd been quiet that night by the fire, barely whispering his wish. I hadn't even heard it. But one afternoon he admitted it. "I wished for love, just once, to be seen." Not long after, he met someone. It happened fast, too fast. He was swept into a romance that looked perfect on the surface, but cracks showed quickly. The kind of love he'd longed for wasn't tender, it was consuming. His calls turned into confessions of arguments, apologies, and bruised pride. He insisted it was worth it, that it was what he'd asked for, but I could hear the unease in his voice. As for me, my own wish stayed quiet, like a seed beneath the soil, but I felt it there, pressing up against the edges of my days. I began waking in the night, heart pounding, as if some unseen hand was moving pieces into place. I told myself it was nonsense, just nerves, just stories spun in the glow of a campfire. And yet, each time I thought of that night, the memory burned brighter, as if the stars themselves hadn't forgotten. One evening, I walked out into the cool October air and looked up. The sky was clear, sharp with starlight, and for a fleeting moment, I thought I saw another streak of fire trace across the heavens. My stomach tightened. I couldn't shake the feeling that the wishes weren't done with us, that they had their own way of unfolding, whether we were ready or not. Winter came early that year, sharp winds sweeping through the valleys, and a frost that clung to everything, even in the daylight. It was during that season the truth of our wishes revealed itself. One by one, each of us faced the weight of what we had asked for. Dan never recovered less painfully. The love he'd begged the stars for had burned him out. The relationship collapsed in ashes, leaving him more hollow than before. He admitted to me once, in a whisper over coffee, that he would have traded every moment of that passion for just a simple, steady kindness. But that wasn't what the stars had given him. And me, my wish had been simple, though I hadn't dared to tell the others. I had wished for change, for life to shift, for something to stir me from the quiet comfort I'd known too long. And it did. All around me, my friends' lives unravelled, bent, reshaped into something they hadn't expected. I was drawn into their storms, their heartbreak, their struggles. And I realised too late, I hadn't asked for change only for myself. I'd asked for it for all of us. Now, when I lie beneath a night sky and see a streak of light burn across the dark, I don't whisper a wish anymore. I just watch in silence, humbled. Because I learned that night, stars don't give gifts, they give consequences. Still, part of me wonders if that was the point all along. Maybe wishes aren't meant to be safe. Maybe they're meant to wake us, to remind us that what we ask for carries weight, and that sometimes the heaviest thing in life is getting exactly what we wanted.